All right, let's talk about one of the wildest, most controversial, and, let's be real, one of the weirdest parts of the crypto universe, meme coins. You've heard the stories, people becoming millionaires overnight, and other people losing their shirts just as fast. The huge question on everyone's mind now, as we're in 2026, is, can they actually make a comeback? Let's dive in. And this quote from Shane Moldor really just nails the skepticism, right? He basically says the whole thing is gambling. And honestly, for most of 2025, you couldn't really argue with them. It felt like the party was completely over. But, and here's the big puzzle we're going to unpack, if they're just unsustainable gambling, how is it that they were the very first thing to shoot back to life? They were literally leading the charge in the 2026 crypto rally. It's a contradiction that really gets to the core of what these things are.
Okay, so to get how we got here, we've got to rewind a bit. Before the epic crash, there was an absolutely incredible boom. And it was all fueled by this idea that people are now calling cultural capital.
This right here is the whole idea in a nutshell. A meme coin's value doesn't come from some groundbreaking code or a business plan. Nope. Its value comes from attention, from community, from being in on a giant inside joke with thousands of other people online. It's like turning a vibe, a feeling of belonging, into a financial asset. And this quote from DWF Labs just hits the nail on the head. It shows you the huge shift in thinking that's happening. The point they're making is that in this super online world we live in, if a community all agrees that something has value, well, it actually starts to have value. Social capital literally becomes financial capital. And the sheer scale of this was just mind-blowing. In 2024 alone, the total value of all meme coins skyrocketed by 500%. It went from about $20 billion to over $120 billion at its peak. This wasn't some tiny niche corner of the market anymore. It was a huge cultural and financial force to be reckoned with. You know, for millions and millions of people, meme coins were their first step into crypto. They were the front door. Why? Because they're easy to get, they're fun, and they brought in this massive wave of new users who probably would have never bothered with the heavy, complex stuff like Bitcoin or DeFi. But of course, what goes up must come down. That insane, hype-driven rise set the stage for an equally spectacular fall, what we now call the Great 2025 Washout. Just look at this number. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around it. In a single year, over 11.6 million different tokens basically went to zero. The market was just flooded with junk, and pretty much all of it got completely wiped out. And the damage to the whole sector was massive. From that $120 billion high, the meme coin market lost 76% of its value. Billions and billions of dollars in paper wealth just vanished. And this is where it bottomed out. After touching those incredible highs, the total market cap just cratered, hitting a low of $35 billion. All that crazy speculative hype was just gone, completely flushed out of the system. So what the heck went wrong? Well, it was a pretty toxic mix of things. A lot of these tokens had what you could only call Ponzi-like setups, designed for the insiders to get rich off of the people who came in last. Then you had huge scandals and rug pulls that just destroyed any trust people had. And at the end of the day, the bubble just popped. But in the middle of all that wreckage, in that wasteland, a few projects actually held on. And they didn't just survive by accident. They had a secret weapon. They had a community lifeline. And this is maybe the biggest lesson from the whole crash. The projects that made it through weren't the ones with the best tech. They were the ones with the strongest, most loyal, most absolutely fanatical communities behind them. So what does one of these resilient communities actually look like? Well, it's way more than just a group chat. It's a shared identity. Holding the token is like wearing your team's jersey. It's people constantly promoting it online, making their own memes and videos, and defending it from haters. These communities really believe they're part of something bigger, a cultural movement that's tied to an idea that can last longer than just a quick trend. And it was that resilience, that survival, that set the stage for what happened next. After the absolute bloodbath of 2025, the start of 2026 brought signs of life and the whispers of a new bull run. And guess who is leading the pack again? Meme coins. As money started trickling back into crypto, these super high-risk assets were the first to pop. Analysts started calling them the market's thermometer. Basically, when meme coins are running hot, it's a signal that everyone's feeling risky again. Now, this comeback isn't just happening in a bubble. There's kind of this perfect storm of bullish stuff brewing in the background. You've got macro liquidity, the idea that central banks might cut interest rates, which usually sends money into risky things like crypto. You've got the post-halving timing. Historically, big crypto rallies happen about a year after a Bitcoin halving. You've got institutional momentum from all the new ETFs bringing in serious big player money. And finally, there's more regulatory clarity, which makes the big institutions feel safer to jump in.
But here's the critical thing to understand. The 2026 market is not a simple repeat of 2024. The investors have been burned, they're smarter, the stories are different, the whole playbook has been rewritten. It's a completely new game.
And you can really see the difference here. The old days were all about FOMO, fear of missing out, and goofy animal memes, and just hoping you could sell to someone else for a higher price. But the 2026 market, it's much more skeptical. People are digging into the data, they're interested in stories about which coins can survive, and there's even this premium being placed on coins that have been around for a while. They're calling it the nostalgia meta. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, while any single meme coin can absolutely fail, and most probably will, the basic idea, the ability to turn culture and community agreement into a token, that seems to be a permanent part of crypto now. It's like a brand new type of asset born entirely from the internet. And that leaves us with the million-dollar question. Are meme coins a serious new thing that's here to stay, or is this just another speculative bubble getting ready to pop all over again? Is this a genuine innovation, or just a giant, noisy distraction? I really want to know what you think. Is this just hype, or is it a permanent part of crypto culture? Let me know down in the comments. And hey, if you want more explainers that break down complicated topics like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.